Hello, 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 my people. Welcome, Human Handbook community, where today we will continue our conversations about everything you need to know, but no one's telling you. My name is Dr. Adam Tice, and today we're going to be talking about fever, suppression, digestion, and immunity, immune boosting. So, and this continues off conversations from the clinic. And so I think these are conversations in the clinic that we had today, and I want to expand on these a little bit and share this information with anybody else who might be interested about fever and the immune system and the role that is playing and what exactly is going on there. And let's unpack that a little bit more, because the information is the power, and that's what we need, is to be empowered so we can make good decisions for ourselves and those people that we love around us. So basically, fever is, and actually what I think I might do, I'm going to read a little bit from one of the Nature Cure texts here, just a little bit, and we're just going to read a little bit about fever and then unpack this a little bit. So how does the body create fever in an infectious disease? So a microbial product, a viral product, something, an exogenous pyrogen means something from the outside that is going to start a fire. That is taken in by the immune system. And this actually results in this cascade of this interleukin 1, which then now that sends the signals through the body to raise the temperature. The endogenous pyrogen, this is the fever producer. So it's like a hormone. It goes through the body through another cascade of prostaglandins, causes the set point, the thermostat, to get turned up. Okay. So now the body has perceived that the normal set basal temperature is too low, turn it up, and then again sets off a cascade to alter the circulation and shut down the sweating mechanism. These are heat conservation measures that are mediated through the nervous system. Things like this is why the body would have chills. And then in the brain, the subject may become tired, and then there are actions in the liver and C proteins, and these aid the immunity and begin to set the immune system off into work. Another thing that happens here, where is this? The gut motility is reduced by this process, and that is a key point. So you got this whole series of things going off when pathogens are encounter the system. Hormonal cascades get triggered, interleukins, prostaglandins, these signals in the brain go off. The body knows that there's something going on here. We need to raise the temperature. Then this increased metabolic activity happens. The temperature raises. This cascade happens. Now, this is, and when this happens, what the subject will feel is as if they're getting sick. That increased immune activity, the side effect of that is the person feels sick. Okay, so, and many things happen. These actions in the liver happen, actions in the circulation happen. The signals go to the gut motility to slow down. All this is going on. So what that means in English is the digestion is dialing down, is shutting down in order to accommodate for the increased metabolic activity, that is the increased immune activity going on, doing its job. This is immunity. This is how this is actually happening. So the last thing that we want to do is shut that down, is suppress that, is to squash that and put it down. And this is the number one thing that everybody does just out there in standard American, if you listen, is this is what Tylenol, Aleve, any of this over-the-counter stuff shuts the fever down. So what's that do? That is, the immune system is trying to ramp up and do its job, and then we're saying shut it down. Shut it down. And so the other thing, the appetite is naturally diminished because of decreased gut motility. And so that digestive fire is diminished. And then so the second thing that we want to absolutely not do is put a bunch of food on the system, because then it's just going to sit there, and that's actually going to act to suppress the system. So we don't want to do either one of those things. And this is one thing that I was having this conversation today, and I think this is a really important conversation to have, just a topic to know about, is how do you manage getting sick? So maybe there's not always a fever, but a similar thing like this is happening when the immune system is working, especially the digestion. And if we observe this in the wild, in true nature, if you watch an animal or a little kid, that's what they do. The animal or the child who is not, going through layers and layers and layers of conditioning and just like kind of bulldozing through all of that, is going to heed that natural warning and take rest, go into a fasting state, sort of step aside for a little bit, let the immune system do its job, and then again come back. And the thing that happens when the immune system works like that, that's a natural software update for the human operating system. That's the natural immune system upgrade that happens. So one of the worst things, the other worst thing, number three, that you could do is, just as a general thing, is isolate yourself and not be exposed and not come into contact with all of the other beings and all of the other human ecosystems and all of the little micro galaxies that are this cloud of the biome, of the virome, that actually is you, called human. Because remember, the human flesh and bone is some small part of this, what you know yourself to be human. But really, when we're talking about the biome, that's really talking about this cloud, this little galaxy that is us, and it knows what it's doing. We've got a strategic innate intelligence in that system. And so we need to know about this. We need to understand that this is happening, understand the basic science of this, so that we can take appropriate action. So the appropriate action, we definitely don't want to suppress it. So this is where we harness the power of hydrotherapy, actually, to kind of piggyback on this natural fever state. And in a sick state, a person can do hydrotherapy and harness that and spike that fever and break the fever and bring the body into, around that curve, into the healing state. And it can be a rapid recovery, immune boosting and rapid recovery. That's what that's what my protocol is entitled, because that's how I think about it. It's immune boosting, rapid recovery. You don't want to drag this thing on by continually suppressing. When you hear about symptoms that are lasting for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, there's usually some level of suppression. Okay, maybe not always. We could think of some story where whatever, the person didn't suppress it. Okay, there might be that one case. We could talk about that and unpack that. But for the general conversation, we don't want to suppress things. And if there is a long-standing, like I heard this term, what did they call it? The COVID long hauler. So apparently this is a term, and this is probably what's going on in a state like this. So we don't want to suppress the fever. We want to allow that to work through the body. We want to go into a fasting state, because if the digestion is diminished, the fire is diminished. So the last thing we want to come in and put, like 5 huge logs on the fire that's kind of barely going or has been dialed down for a time. What happens if we do that? If we put all that fuel on the fire, it smothers it. And then that acts like a suppression. So then all that energy that was going to do the immune activity has to be rerouted and come to try to tend to this digestion. And it's really slow and sluggish. But the body's got to deal with all of that. Then it can go back to the work of doing the immune job that is actually going on. So in the meantime, there is this thing that goes on where maybe the pathogen, and it is able to gain hold, and then that's where you'll get like relapse in symptoms, or I was doing good and then it came back. That's how stories like that happen. So this is the understanding we need to have. This is the understanding. I just want to talk a little bit about the fever, the suppression, the digestion, and immune boosting. This is the key secret. So never suppress a fever, and go into a fasting state immediately if there's acute condition going on, colds, flus, you fill in the blank. And if there's fever, especially, maintain these guidelines. These are the standards of care. This is the gold standard that we follow. And this goes for adults and kids also, especially, if the fever is there. You don't want to feed it. It will drag on. This is the key point. And then when we couple this with other immune boosting strategies, like going into the fasting state, having water and very simple green juices, and maybe at most simple broths, but liquid, no solid food. This is how we really work with the immune system and ally with that natural process that's happening for the immune boosting and the rapid recovery. So that's the tidbit I want to share today. In other news, one thing I thought about was if you have downloaded the app, good. If not, just a reminder to download that. I was in there looking around. It was much easier to search on the app on the phone than it is on the desktop. So just was thinking about that. Put that on your phone, and then you can get the updates and notifications when we go live. And so welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great weekend. I will be working on some of this work for you guys over the weekend. So we will be putting that out when it's out, okay, in the near future. That's the work in progress. So we're enjoying the ride. So you guys have a great weekend, a great evening. Adios for now.